JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Please hit like. It helps me. So it's a Saturday morning right now, and I'm going to do some work on this very small Tudor watch. So normally I don't like working on Tudor watches, vintage watches like this, as I mostly do pocket watches, but this is a nice little Tudor, and I'm working on this on behalf of my brother, who said, hey, can you make this thing work again? It barely runs and it's very weak. So here it is here. I think this is a gold case or gold filled case. Looks like it has a few servicings from a long time ago. A long time ago. It says British case, British made gas. I'm not sure what that's all about. Anyway, it's had a few servicings over the years. It looks like a pretty old Tudor, but we shall strip this down this morning and then have a look at it. So I'm going to have to turn this around to work on it. First thing I'm going to do is take power off this thing, because I wound it up this morning to see if it would run, and it does. And I just want to take some power off it. As you can see, it's running, but I checked the amplitude and it's very poor. So we're going to get deep and dirty this morning with this watch. So other than the crappy amplitude, I can also see that there's hair and stuff stuck in here, fuzz. So we'll get rid of that. But I have to take the amplitude off this watch first. And I've got it's got running right now. I could take the balance out to start off with, but I would like to get rid of this amplitude. So I've got a click spring right here. I know I don't have gloves on right now, but it hasn't gone into the cleaning machine yet, so I'm not too concerned. So that's the click spring here, and I got to just move this all the way back and out of the way, and that way I can ride there we go, I can ride the second hand back. Actually, working on these little watches is not easy for me, because usually I don't work on these little watches. So I'm just trying to be very careful here so I don't damage anything as I reverse this out. Just stand it up here so it has a chance. Come on. I think I'll use a needle. A needle. I might take the hands off too first. I could remove the balance. I'm just going to try this one more time. And this seems like the click over here just is way out of the way, which is just a little tougher than I normally have to work it. There we go. What I don't want this thing to do is just completely slide and damage anything. And I can see the movement is still working, so I'm just going to work this back nice and easy. Keep friction on the crown with my thumb so it doesn't go to hand. So it slipped a bit more there, but not too bad. I'm just going to rock it back here nice and easy. That's it. It's getting close to zero energy, and I think that's pretty much it. There we go. And you can see the balance is no longer moving. That means the energy from the mainspring is gone. Gony. And then I can take I can likely take the hands off first, so I don't have to just put it in the setting position here. And I'm just going to line the hands up to 12 o'clock so I can remove them. And they weren't completely well aligned, but they were close, but not really well aligned. So the hand removers I'll use here are very small. Like I said, I don't normally work on these kind of watches, and so I'm trying to be super duper careful here. But I need a piece of plastic to remove the hands here. I found my little piece of plastic here. I'm going to put this over the top like that. I know the guy in Wrist Watch Revival does a lot of watches. Maybe later I'll get more into watches and not so much pocket watches, but I do love working on pocket watches. It's a treat and a half. There we go. And I think I might have to use my good old friend Mr. Rodico to pick parts up. That way I'm not at any risk of damaging anything. So just pick the hands up, and I'm actually going to put the hands inside the case here. Like that. And now we got to remove this seconds hand. And I don't know whether plastic's going to help me here because it's so small. There we go. Get the underneath there, pull that straight up. And I'm just putting the hands in, I'm putting the hands in the watch itself just so I don't lose them or touch them or do whatever with them. So I'm trying to be as careful as possible with this watch. And then I want to remove the movement here, or the balance cock, before I touch anything else. Just to get it out of the way. So I can rest this now on this very nice Bergeron 5395 holder. And I probably will use maybe this for the movement, if that works. Might use something smaller. I could use, in fact, this movement holder here. So I'm just going to loosen this up first and then deal with that after. And again, just like I've said before, when I do this work, I will use the stick just to hold things in place. And I'm bending down and leaning over. I just want to remove this without getting anything. The screw is nice and stuck. I don't want to remove any screw heads or anything like that. And it's on the sponge holder here, so it's a bit loose. It's a gel-filled holder, by the way. Let's just move this out of the way. I think the last watch I worked on was a really small ladies' watch for a friend of mine. And it was super small. And it was super difficult to work on because of the size of it. I might use this here for now and see if this can fit in. And the size matters. Size does matter. And I'm just going to get I might be able to lift this up from the back. I don't want to stretch the spring on this, so I'm just going to put this down for a second. And the tricky part here is the fact that it's so friggin' small. This is old style watches that were really small back in the day. So I have to be super careful when I'm lifting this up. But the balance here is... There we go. I just want to move the balance out of the way, give it a bit of a hand. And hoping I can put this on this tack. This is a tack I made, a balance tack I made a long time ago. And you know what? It's not gonna help me lining that up. So I'm gonna look at this balance tack here, see if this one works. Because this one here will line up properly, so I got to move it closer. So I'll do that just like this, and that might do there. Let me see if that moves it a bit closer. It's not too bad, but I still would like it a bit closer than that. And I could move it down a bit as well, right? So let me look at this. I'm being super careful today. Alright, move it a bit closer like so. And I want to move this down a bit, like that. That's a lot better. And just rest it. Lift this up just a tad here. And spin that up a bit. For me, that just takes the stress off the hairspring, that's all. So that's good like that. It's good and out of, so I'm going to move this out of the way, because you can just hit stuff with your hands by accident. So here we go with the movement. And I know this 17 jewels, rubies, Tudor. It's an old watch, that's for sure. And I'm looking at the bridges here. There's likely, the jewels are likely fine on this watch. So what I'll do here, I have to see how the face comes off. These old watches, they typically, the faces just came up. So it looks like there's a screw right here. There's a screw right there. Let me see if I can point that to you. Screw right here, and this grabs the this holder right there, and there's another one on the other side. So I just have to move those two out of the way, and that should move the face out of the way. So I can just do that right now. Should take a picture of all this stuff first. There's that one there, and I'm just looking the way this thing rolls, and it goes. It's kind of a. It's not a circle. It's just kind of a half moon, I'd say. So there, the face. So the dial feet holders are out of the way now. So I should be able to just push down on these. I'm not sure whether that will work or whether I just have to get underneath there and turn it, because the dial feet are no longer being held in place by this. And so let me just get another screwdriver here and see if I can just wedge this up. There we go. It's a lot easier like that, I think. I don't have to worry about dial screws in this watch. Camera angle, I need to move my camera just a bit so you guys can see what I'm up to. And again, I'm not wearing gloves right now because I'm putting this through the wash machine. And I'll just get my fingers in here. And just be very careful when you're doing this, like really super careful. At some point I can get my fingernails in here and just lift this dial up like that. There we go. And hold it by the edges. And it looks like it's in fairly good condition. And I'll just again move this out of the way. I'm going to move this, face it like this on the mat, dial up. And just to be a good boy here, I'm just going to remove some of these tools out of the way so they don't end up interfering with the work. So that's that. This watch will go into my watch cleaning machine, and we'll just give it a good scrub-a-dub-dub I may not completely disassemble this this part of the watch here because it's going to be a toughie to put back, and it really doesn't affect the amplitude of the watch. So I'm just going to strip this down a bit. See what I've got here. That's the seconds wheel. I think the cannon pinion might just come straight up. Not sure. Yeah, just pull that straight up, no problem. That's the cannon pinion for the watch. It's super small. I just grab that lightly by the tip of the tweezers and pull that straight up, so there's no issue there. I might take this bridge apart here. First thing I need to do, what I always do before I do any of this stuff, is I take a photograph of the top here of the movement, so it's all the setting mechanisms, because you don't want it to start disassembling this and not know how to reassemble it, because I've got no manual for this. So I can see there's a plate here with a cap jewel, and that's for probably the escapement. It might be the bottom of the escapement. I'm not sure. There's another cap here, so I'll have to look at what these caps are after and what this is. But I'm going to take the crown and stem out very carefully. And to do that, these European watches are funny little buggers. They've got a screw right here, and you loosen that screw and it allows the stem just to come straight out. This already seems to be pretty loose, actually. And there's the stem. And as you can see, the stem is hairy. I'll just remove some of the hair from that stem right now while I'm here. I wonder why is this hair on the stem. And I'm putting the stem aside and I'm putting the hair aside. Let's move that hair out of the way. Now when you take out that stem, you've got the clutch comes out, or the clutch wheel, I think, comes out. So I'm going to just move that out of the way. And then there's a wheel in here that will come out only if I remove this mechanism right here, which I probably will have to remove. Yeah, these can be tricky though. So I'm going to take the rest of it off, and then I'm going to see if I can avoid that. So now I got to put this thing into a movement holder, because it'll put a bit of a little hole in my gel holder. So the other thing I want to watch out for is the fourth wheel pivot, which is right here, right there. That's the fourth wheel pivot, so that's where the seconds hand goes on, right there. And I have to keep an eye on that so it doesn't get crushed, right? So here I'll just flip this around like so, and I've got a vintage movement holder here, which is kind of neat. It's an very old movement holder. It's got a spring in the inside here, and it's quite a nice little movement holder. Get that out of the way, and that should just be able to grab the watch without any problem. But I'm going to see where that fourth wheel pivot is, just to make sure I'm not interfering with it at all. Right? Where is that fourth wheel pivot? There it is there. So I think it's deep enough in where I'm not really concerned. So I'll just turn this around like that and put that in the movement holder like so, and I'm just going to squeeze it lightly here. And what I don't want is for this thing to pop out as I'm working on it, which would be a bit of a disaster. Now in stripping this watch apart, I know right away that I've got these wheels here. I'm not sure whether this is backward or forward. I think it might be backwards, but not quite sure. So I'll put a little bit of pressure on this and turn it, but I think I need a bigger screwdriver. Gotta make sure the screwdriver fits well. So loosening could be the other way, not sure. Usually when loosening is the other way, there's some kind of a mark on on the movement itself that give you an indication, but I'm not sure with this now. There's no indication at all at which way the screw goes. And that becomes a pain because it's you don't want to be turning it the wrong way. That's the problem. Because it's not always loosey, righty-tighty stuff. I'm putting a bit of pressure on it, but it doesn't seem to be moving. Okay, there we go. Now you see that? So this is the tightening direction, which is loosening the screw. So it's a bit of a pain that they don't mark these things, because you could strip it, but you don't want to, right? So the pain is that they basically, some of the watches actually have a marking on it. So I'm gonna take a photo of the top too, because I know there's a bit of a ring on there before you take the ratchet wheel off. If that's the ratchet wheel, crown wheel, ratchet wheel, crown wheel. Can't remember. You guys can correct me. What's amazing is I don't mind you correcting me. Just grab that and put that with the screw. I believe there's a bit of a gasket here over the top, and just usually check and see if there's a way that this thing goes in. I think it's uniform on both sides, but take that out of the way. And then I made sure that the screwdrivers were the exact right size. So this can move now, but I have to put my finger in here to kind of block it to turn it like that. And again, I'll be washing this. I'll be putting this complete watch into the cleaning machine. So right now I'm not too concerned with any issue here. So this spring here, I probably should remove it, because if I don't, it might go flying. And again, take a photo, because you may not remember where that goes. Now this watch, the work I'm doing on this watch is a freebie, I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to my brother. I think this might be a freebie. And I just want to get it going a bit better, right? So we're going to remove the pallet fork and plate first, which is here. Again, I want to make sure I get the right screwdriver, and which would probably be a black screwdriver, maybe, or red, black or red. You just want to have it fit absolutely perfect into the slot, and you put a little bit of downward pressure on that, and then turn it. I have a really nice desk that I got quite a few years ago for doing watch work, and you can put your elbows up and do it properly, right? The problem is it just barely fits on my current desk for watch repair. Let's get this out of the way. I like matching up the screws with the pieces. So when you take out the pallet fork on the watch, especially because it's so friggin' small, you want to lift that straight up if you can. There we go. Very proud of myself. Now that everything is kind of loosened up here, so I can take off this main bridge here where the barrel is. I don't think there's anything. This screw here usually stays where it is, and that's the one that's holding the stem in. So I really only have 3 bridge screws here I need to remove, and that's it. I'm gonna stop and start recording again in case this thing skips on me. Alright, let's get at it. Let's get at her. Again, I want to make sure my screwdriver is the exact right size for this job. Not too big, not too small. I think this is a bit too big. The red is a bit too big, so I go down one to the black, and I don't need to. The colors on the screwdrivers are consistent from manufacturer to manufacturer. So I'm just going to loosen these up first before I take them out. They haven't been out in a long time. They kind of just snap when you're loosening them. And there we go. So this means I'm going to have to spend time in my basement. My basamante. It's Italian for basement. And watch the wash machine. As you guys know, I got a crappy hip, so this work is actually a little bit painful because of the way I'm positioned with my hip. So I got to get this fixed because it makes watch repair actually, sometimes it's painful. And it just takes focus away from what you're trying to do. So you want to be absolutely focused when you're repairing watches or cleaning watches so you don't have any issues. This lift straight up for me now. It should. Don't think there's any other issues here. There we go. That's the plate, the main plate. I'll just move that aside here. And then here's the barrel. I can take that out after. And I'll take another photo, even though this is pretty simple. I don't need to worry about this too much. It's funny that I've worked on a couple of Rolexes now. And again, it's I don't mind working on the Rolexes if they're big. This is a really small watch. It's the small ones that are a bit of a pain in the butt. I won't use the A word, but they're a pain in the butt with an A. So, but again, shout out to my brother. I did this because he asked me. No other reason. But folks, if you want me to do repair on your watches, ask me first, and then I'll determine out whether I'm going to do it or not. Try not to ambush me. Otherwise I'll freak out. I tell you, I'll freak out. Let me see which way to approach this here. I think over on this side here. Go straight up. Yep. I'm just gonna get my screwdriver in here. Been in here for, I imagine this thing hasn't been cleaned for 50, 60 years. Just as you get it out, it drops back again. Thank you, Margaret. There we go. And again, I'm trying to align the plates up, so I took the cannon pinion off the other side of this before, so I can just lift that straight up. These are the wheels. You've got to be very careful. These will go through the cleaning machine. I'm just taking a look at the pivots on the end. And these are the pinions. You've got to get the dirt out between the pinions as well. Yeah, everything looks pretty good there. And that's all looking pretty good. And I just need to remove the clutch, the crown wheel. Is that what it's called? Crown wheel. Take that out. Take out the mainspring barrel. I'll likely take the mainspring out and then clean it and then wind it back in. And let me look at the other side of this thing now. So it's stripped on this side. I'm just trying to determine whether I want to go through removal of all this. Because this is a freebie. It doesn't affect anything. So I might just throw it in like this to clean it. And then oil it up after. And even if the minute hand doesn't come out, it shouldn't make a big difference. This is the gear, the minute gear. Because I do worry about stripping these screws when I remove this. And there's kind of really no need to do that because I can clean it, dry it, and then oil it without that. I know I will get some calls on that. I'm going to leave these in for cleaning and then take them out after. So there we go. That's stripped down. And again, like I said, this is likely a freebie. And the parts are all well organized. And there we go. There's the parts. It's not too complex a watch. It's not like the chronograph I did a while back was ridiculously complex. So that's it there. When I reassemble, I will have finger cots on for reassembly. This is the, let me see if I can move this over here. There's the case, and then I've got the movement still on the movement holder here. So that's the full view of the whole thing. So thanks for watching my channel. I'll just publish this and you can make some comments there. So some of the springs I might remove, but I don't think I'll take the setting mechanisms apart this time. Thanks a lot, and have a good day.